what happens when they arrest me. Okay, the cop says, oh, you're under arrest. He wants to read me my Miranda rights. He goes through his Miranda rights, and he says, do you understand? And I say, no. And they look at me like I'm crazy, like, no? What do you mean, no? Everybody says yes. Well, what don't you understand? Well, I don't understand the nature and the cause of this action. And then they don't know what to say. So they read me the Miranda rights again. And they say, do you understand? And I say, no. I don't understand the nature and the cause of this action. And I shut up and let them take me in. They take me in to the jail for processing. Now, think about this. When you go to jail and they process you, you're sitting on that cold, hard slab, and they do, what's the first thing they do? They call your name, right? And what does the ordinary person do? They say, that's me, I'm here. Or they stand up and walk over there, right? That's the first thing you don't do. When I go to jail, I'm sitting on that slab and they call my name and I'm looking around like, who are they talking to? Now, they're looking right at me, and they're calling my name, and I'm totally ignoring them because I don't know whether they're calling out an all-cap name or an upper lowercase name, so I'm going to shut up. Okay, so they come over there, and they say, well, are you missing? And I say, no. And they say, well, what's your name? And I say, well, my mother named me. So they're like, okay, well, can you please come over here and take a picture? I'm going to repeat that. They say, can you please come over here and take a picture? And I say, oh, you want a picture? Oh, that's going to cost you $10,000 a shot. I'm going to stand here with my head down until you guys decide whether you're willing to pay that or not. And I'm very nice. So I'll just stand there with my head down. And the one cop's bumping the cameraman, and he's saying, man, you going to take a picture? Well, shit, man, you going to hold her head up? No, I ain't going to hold her head up. Well, then I'm not taking her picture because I can't afford it. So what they do, they tell me to go sit back down. Well, I don't answer to orders unless I'm being paid. So I'll say, hey, look, I'm going to go sit down over there. And they look at me like, why is she just repeating what I say? Because I don't take orders without getting paid. So if they tell me to do something, I tell them what I'm going to do, and then I do it. So I go back over to the slab, and I sit back down, move down the line, comes up to the next stop, and they say, They know I'm not going to answer to the name, so they say, ma'am, can you come here, please? And I say, who, me? And they say, yeah. So I get up and I go over there, and I'm smiling, and I'm all nice. I'm probably the only person in the jail smiling. And they say, well, ma'am, we need you to sign this. And I say, oh, are you looking for my power of attorney? Oh, well, it's $2 million an instance, and I don't agree to that. And they look at me, and they say, okay. And then I say, I'm going to go sit back down over here. And then I go sit back down. Move down the line again. Now they want my thumbprint, which is another power of attorney. Ma'am, can you step up here? I step up there smiling. Yes, what can I help you with? Can you put your thumb there on that red digital pad? And I say, oh, you want my thumbprint? Oh, that's another form of my power of attorney. It's going to be $2 million per instance that it's used once it's in your system. Are you willing to pay that? And they look at me. And then, of course, the lieutenant or whoever goes off the deep end to try to scare me. And he says, look, lady, if you don't put your thumb on that thing, we're going to hold you in here until we feel like letting you go. And I said, well, you can't hold me more than 72 hours. And I look at him. Now, at that time, there's a woman, sheriff, walking across the back of them, and she is falling out laughing. And she stops for a second, and she turns at me, and she says, sweetheart, if you're not going to process, they can't even hold you for 24 hours. And I said, thank you. And she said, you're welcome. And she just kept walking. Now, everybody is pulling out their hair because the last step is my fingerprints to the slate, right? I'm sitting down. So I hear my name being called in the next room. I'm just sitting there. So then they come out, and they're like, ma'am, can you please come with us? And I'm like, okay, sure. So I go through the doorway, and as soon as I step through that doorway, two officers grab my hands and try to forcibly fingerprint me. So me being the type of female I am, I scream rape. Rape, rape, get your hands off me, don't touch me. And the lady CO freaks out, and she tells him, let her go. Get off her. Don't touch her. Back up. Leave her alone. And she comes over there and she says, ma'am, I'm so sorry for that. And I said, if you want my fingerprints, all you had to do is pay me, and I'd have given them to you. Don't rape me to get my fingerprints. She apologized. Ma'am, I am so sorry. Can I please just pat you down to make sure you don't have any weapons, and we'll put you in a secure location? I said, sure, fine. That's fine. So I let her pat me down, make me take my shoes off, check the bottom of my feet, all that. And they put me in the crazy ward for about 3 hours. Then they come in and they try to tell me to change into these clothes. Well, here's your clothes. You need to put them on. Oh, I'm sorry. Those aren't my clothes, and I'm not going to put them on. They smell bad. They don't go with me, and they're not mine. I'm not going to put them on. I'm quite comfortable in my own clothes. They're freaking out because they can't move me anywhere unless I have on their clothes. I just refuse to put on their clothes. So they come back an hour later with about 15 officers, and they're demanding that I take my clothes off and I put these other clothes on. So I said, okay, I'm going to do that under threat, duress, and coercion, and I screamed rape the whole time because I had 15 people looking at me get naked, men and women. And I said, every eyeball that looks at me is getting charged $2 million per eye. Everybody looked at the ceiling. Everybody turned their back. Ain't nobody want to do none of that. You know what I mean? So I go ahead and I put their clothes on and I sit there. Well, in that particular case, even though I put the clothes on, they still came back with my clothes 2 hours later, gave them back, and processed me out. In order to process me out, they needed a signature. Man, you're going to have to sign. If we're letting you go right now, you've got to sign something. I says, okay. They slide the little thing over there to me. What do I sign? I sign UCC 1-308. They say, is that your signature? I say, yes. No name on there, just UCC 1-308. They kicked me up out of jail. That's it. That's the end of my jail. Now, it only ever didn't work for me one time. And it was because 4 agencies were trying to clear their books of my name. So they held me in contempt for 28 days, trying to get me to sign stuff because they never processed me in. So they literally kidnapped me for 28 days my last time in jail. My ID band didn't have a picture, didn't have a number, it didn't have any information on it. It was just a pink band with a blank place where my picture was supposed to be. I still have that band, and it's part of my lawsuit to prove how I was kidnapped.
Yeah.
So it's just the way a rich man has options and a wealthy man knows how to fill out those doggone forms. If you understand that and you maneuver yourself that way, they can't touch you, not like they normally would.
Yeah, but the fact that they kept you 28 days, wasn't there anything that you could have done other than wait it out?
You know, I could have, but I knew that they were trying to get my name out of their system. And it concluded all of the court cases that I had going on at the time because I had to go to court. And once they had me in there, I gave it to them. They already knew I had a fee schedule. They already knew that they were trespassing on an estate. They just wanted to, like, literally one of my they were going to keep me in jail till trial on a case that was already closed. Right? Now, I'm going to say that again. They tried to keep me until trial for a case that was already closed. So they bullied me into taking a plea. As they gave me the plea deal, and the lady's reading me the plea, oh, it's going to be 3 years probation, this much a month, you have to go to this, you can't do no drugs, you can't, no alcohol, woo, 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 no driving, all that stuff. I told her, okay, I'll sign it. So she gives me, the deal. Well, she just handed me an open contract. So what did I do? I contracted that sucker. I took out or put in brackets everything I didn't agree with. The probation, the fees, the counseling, everything that I didn't agree with, I put it in brackets, signed it, gave it back to her. Signed it with my name and UCC 1-308. Gave it back to her. She's just looking at me like, oh my God, what did she just? She just took everything out of the plea deal. That's what I did. I plead to nothing. And so she gives it to the judge, and the judge is looking at it, and he's looking at me like, what did you just do? And I'm just smiling in their uniform. And the judge says, okay, I'm going to accept this plea deal. Woo, 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 woo. And my deal ended up being 3 years of unsupervised probation with no fines, fees, or penalties whatsoever. I never even checked into that probation because they never gave me the probation information. So I ended the case that way.
So if you didn't check in for probation, wouldn't they have a warrant out for you or something, or they just left you alone?
They never opened up the probation case in the first place.